This is the third reading of the book Chicano Power and the Struggle for Aztlan. Part 1, Chicano Power and the Struggle for Aztlan. The production of this essay was the result of reflection on the body of work concerning the Chicano liberation movement, as well as looking at current conditions in today's world. Most of what has been already written on this topic was written decades ago. Thus, the need to write on the contemporary Chicano struggle, which we hope adds to the body of work already in existence. Our main thrust in developing this book lies in Chicano liberation. The research put into this work drew from the history of theory and practice from the Chicano movement, which we continue to delve into to gain more insight. This work is an attempt to contribute to the continued evolution of that revolutionary theory. Marx taught us that all matter is in motion, and so with this motion, we will continue to find new ways to apply the proper response to new phenomena. New ideas and new actions will, of course, create new reaction. We hope to develop new theory that breaks ground in political line, especially pertaining to the lumpen class. We are in a new phase in the Chicano liberation movement, where a fresh generation of Chicanos are rising to demand justice and self-determination in response to the repression America unleashes on the barrios. Babies are literally ripped from their mothers' bosoms, families torn from their roots and separated because of the tools of white supremacy, like the ICE raids and the injustice system. This repression is not new, rather, it is refined and recycled from the oppressor nation toolbox. We hope to develop, via brown youth, a new path to liberate Aztlan. This analysis will pick up where past revolutionaries left off to get to the heart of the Chicano struggle and add to the theory that will move us forward. A step forward for Chicanos is a step forward for the international communist movement more broadly. In putting together this writing, we hope to provoke a new fervor of discussion in the Chicano nation, a vibrant debate in the Raza community, a hornet's nest in the American left circles, and a grave thorn up into imperialism. But most of all, we hope that it advances Chicano thought and helps us achieve Chicano independence. Recent attacks on Chicano youth, education in the United Snakes, and the banning of Chicano literature in Arizona schools have also compelled us to create more literature in the field of quote unquote Chicano studies. These fascist actions will prod young Raza to become more conscious and revolutionary. The growing criminalization of Chicanos and other oppressed nations is also adding to this momentum. Chicanos fill U.S. concentration camp control units in Aztlan more than any other nation. This repression will turn into its opposite as we continuously turn these dungeons into centers of development, where we embrace and guide Chicano youth who are ensnared in the same imperialist trap that caught us. We will churn out future Chicano cadre from our cinder block classrooms and create a new revolutionary culture that goes back to the barrios fully conscious and stripped of oppressor nation immorality or bourgeois ideology. The imperialist propaganda machine has waged an ideological offensive on our people for 500 years, seeking to capture our minds as they simultaneously capture our bodies. For this reason, our existence depends on Chicanos to develop theory and flood the barrios and pintas with the Chicano Renaissance as seen through brown eyes, lest someone else develop a theory for us. This literature needs to be developed in order to counter what America does and has done to decolonize La Raza minds. It is far easier to spread lies than to counter them. So we have much work ahead of us. There are four sections to this essay. Section 1 deals with history of Chicanos from their emergence as a colonized nation to the Brown Power movement. Section 2 is on the exploitation of Aztlan and the early development of Chicanos. Section 3 tackles the path for Chicano liberation. And Section 4 addresses our youth, Chicanas, and political line. In 1937, Mao wrote, quote, "The vast majority of human beings have already prepared or are preparing to fight a war that will bring justice to the oppressed peoples of the world." End quote. Let us be amongst the majority as the oppressed nations build for war this time around.